so they didn't want to take it away from him, but I've been jumping up and down and hollering a lot lately, so hopefully they finally will.
Okay, well, thank you for your advocacy, Toby.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we'll continue on my phone here. So this is, for those listening to recording, this is 17B, Assignment Base, Part 2. At least my video, I could see on my, I guess my computer, it eventually gave up on getting Wi-Fi back. So it just started converting the recording. So that'll be Part 1. I guess this will be Part number 2 of our shir. Okay. So just to reorient ourselves, we said that you can't use the Kal V'chomer to extrapolate that if one thing's usher, the other thing is usher, and therefore you should get Makkos. But what you could do is to extrapolate that because A is usher, B should be usher, but without going the next step and saying, and therefore you should get Makkos as well, that would be appropriate. However, V'amar Rava, Zar Shalchem Ola Zrika Chutzla Choma, the Rabbi Shimon Loka Chamish. Rava taught us, based on Rabbi Shimon's teaching, that if someone, let's say a Yisrael goes ahead and eats from an Ola offering before Zrika, before the blood is thrown, outside of the walls of the Beis Hamikdash, of the Yerushalayim, Rabbi Shimon says you get Makkos 5 times. Now, that's an issue, because that means Rabbi Shimon actually believes you get genuine Makkos. It's not simply a matter of just violating an Isser. Now, quick parenthetical, why in this case do you get Makkos 5 times? Let's see if everyone can guess it. This is like a good trivia question over here. This is one of my, I like it when they do this in the Maseches Makkos. Sort of like, like gives you a very simple case. And how do you get 5 Makkos from this simple case? So again, we have a Zar, we have a non-Kohen eating from an Ola before the blood is thrown outside the walls of Yerushalayim. Therefore, Rabbi Shimon says you get Makkos. So what are the 5? I kind of just said most of them explicitly. Number 1, eating it outside Yerushalayim. Number 2, eating it before the blood is thrown. Number 3, it's a Zar, a non-Kohen eating it. Number 4, not only are you eating it outside the walls of Yerushalayim, but by virtue of doing that, you're also eating it outside of the Beis Hamikdash. And number 5, you're eating from an Ola offering that you're not supposed to eat from. So from that simple scenario, you've unwittingly violated 5 Yisurim that incur Makkos. So we can't just give an answer for Rava and say, oh, Rabbi Shimon, he was just trying to infer, he was trying to extrapolate that's usser to do all these things. He clearly believes that you also get Makkos for doing it. So, no, but still the Gemara suggests maybe he didn't really mean Makkos. Maybe Rava didn't fully understand what Rabbi Shimon meant. Chamisha Yisurin happened. Maybe he didn't really mean Makkos, he meant 5 violations of the Torah, but not to the degree that you would incur Makkos each time. Still, the Gemara is not buying it. Why? V'anan t'nan, Eluhein halokin. Look at our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, it says, who gets Makkos? And remember, in our Mishnah, what did we specify? Bikurim, first fruits, and kachim, Hashem Mechatos offerings, that you get Makkos for them if you don't eat them under the right conditions. If a non-Kohen eats Bikurim, non-Kohen eats Bikurim. If you eat the Bikurim, if the Kohen eats Bikurim before the Yisrael reads Psukim, or kachim that are eaten chutzlak flayim, you get Makkos. So this attempted answer that Rabbi Shimon, he wasn't going so far. He walked back what he said. He didn't really mean to give Makkos. It's like sometimes you see in the Gemara, there's like this recurring theme. There's a whole sugya in Maseches Bava Kama, whether being like a vigilante. So the question is, if somebody steals from me, do I have to wait to go through Beis Din, or can I actively just extrajudicially take back what is rightfully mine, or I have to wait for due process. So in that sugya, they quote a precedent that says that you could punch out somebody's teeth who did you wrong in that regard. So then one of the Amoraim responds, he says, what's it mean like to punch him out? It means punch him out by bringing riots and based bring proofs against him and based in. It's metaphorical. So, maybe Rabbi Shimon, he's saying like, give him Malchus, hit him up here. He didn't mean literally give Malchus. He meant just like, we're smacking him with a violation of the Torah. Maybe. So Elakrais, that's also the answer, by the way. They'd say Hake Ashina for the Russia. We talk about the 4 children during Pesach. They say you're supposed to knock out the Russia's teeth. What do you mean, knock out his teeth? So it means, I think Soloveitchik suggests this also. It means you should knock out his ideas philosophically, and it's just a metaphorical or hyperbole, rather. Okay, so we can't just use Stam Kal V'chomers. Why do we know to learn all these special dinim that we said before? Well, we can't use a Kal V'chomer, as we said, to learn that there's Malchus for all these different categories. But rather, we're going to show that it was necessary to teach all these additional Yisurim because there are 2 psukim where I only need one pasuk to teach me all these laws, that you can't eat, that you have to eat inside the walls of Yerushalayim for all these different categories of food. But because it taught a second pasuk, therefore we derive these dinim. So rather there's an additional pasuk. Michti, sit. And let's see, we got continuation of the pasuk. Again, so you look on the side of your Gemara in the Devarim, Perek Yud Beis, pasuk Vav through Zayin, Deuteronomy 12, 6 through 7. It gives a list of all the things that we actually mentioned in the previous pasuk on Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, which was found Devarim Yud Beis Yud Zayin, right near each other. Why do we need 2 psukim giving me the same list of food items that I'm not allowed to eat outside of Yerushalayim? It must be to teach me a special din. Why didn't Hashem just append to the end of it? Why did Hashem have to make 2 different sections of that chapter telling me exactly the same thing, pretty much? Why did God have to go back and teach another pasuk? Rather, it's to tell me unique isurim for each and every category in the pasuk. Now, there's different. Oh my gosh, there's like a whole entire tumult, as we call it, among the Rishonim as to whether that means we learn all the different dinim out, or whether it's just you look at Rashi, he limits it a lot more. So we're not going to get into all of the different opinions in the Rishonim, but basically some still don't think that we can use this method to learn all the different dinim, all the different instances that you get Malchus from. Some do, and without blowing our heads off with the complexity of it, we'll leave it at that. That brings us to Ches Amud Aleph. That brings us to the end of our shir for tonight. Are there any questions that we've been holding on to until this point? All right. Well, next week, God willing, Ches Amud Aleph is a pretty short one. But
you mentioned Rabbi Hake Ashina. You know the gematria explanation of that?
Oh, well, tell me, please.
So if you have, but you got to check my math here. But the gematria was for next year for your seder. The gematria of Russia is 570. The gematria of Shinav is 366. 570 minus 366 is 204, which is the gematria of tzaddik. So what you're really trying to do is make the Russia into a tzaddik. You're not really knocking his teeth out.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one, Henry. All right. Which holiday's next? That now, can I?
That's why you need to know arithmetic to know Gemara and stuff.
All right, Henry. So we'll have to get you to We got to get you to give a shear one of these days.
No,
So
no,
you got some material.
no, no.
Oh, Henry, so we're recruiting for Shkia Minion tomorrow. You're on for Dvar Torah, right?
No, thanks. I have to be at,
Are you sure?
I'm,
It's a good one.
no, I can't be there tomorrow.
Okay. I'm
Thank
not
you.
going to force you here. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Scott, have a good
All right.
Shabbos,
Shkoch,
everybody.
everybody.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Hey, good
Thank
Shabbos.
you.
Good night.